Before we go into the message of the day, I just want to share a letter here that was written by a 15-year-old child to his mother. Do you have any 15-year-olds here? 15-year-olds, just raise your hand. 15-year-olds. Okay, I see many of us are not sure old enough. Just raise your hand. Maybe we are about to dish out money to those that are that age. Just exercise faith and raise your hand. 15 years. All right. Thank you so much. Now, this is a letter written by somebody of your age. And if you're a parent and you're listening, this letter paints a picture of what our 15-year-olds think about God. So it is in your interest to get into that psychology. So the mother takes the questions, the sentiments of the child, and she conveys the questions to the preacher or the pastor. The mother writes, says, "Dear Pastor John, I'm hoping you can help us with regards to the topic of God being a megalomaniac." It's a 15-year-old, not my words. Not my words. Which is what our 15-year-old son currently believes. So this son believes that God is a megalomaniac. We will explain what that means a little later. But in a nutshell, this son believes that God has a big ego. That is why he wants people to gather around him and sing praises and worship him. So she says, this is what our son believes. We've talked about this, and he has said that you may be the only person who can change his thinking because of the Westminster Catechism's answer to the chief end of man. He now believes that God is somehow weak and has an enormous ego, that he created human beings so that they will worship him. That God is too needy. My son wants to enjoy other things more than God, and thinks programming people to find their greatest happiness in worshiping him is coercive, mean, manipulative, and wrong. This is what this 15-year-old thinks. Yeah, and before we sigh in dismay, I'd like to appreciate this 15-year-old because she's one of the few who have the guts and the temerity to vocalize some questions about God we dare not ask. There are some of us here that find resonance in this questioning. And we must thank this 15-year-old at least for bringing this to light so that we can deal with it. And then, when we worship God, we do it well-informed, we do it in truth and in spirit. We don't do it simply because we were born in an Adventist church. In other words, our commitment to Christianity should not just be a mere product of our socialization. It should not be by accident that I was born in a Christian family and therefore I am an Adventist. That is a very dangerous condition to be in. We need to get to a point where we interrogate facts and we are able to take this thing and critique it. And if it doesn't make sense, we abandon it. If it makes sense, we uphold it. Not because our mother or our daddy says so, but because we truly believe so. When we do that, God is worshipped, God is honored. God is not in some fraudulent exercise of worshiping himself scandalously through us. Okay. Worship is God saying, my hands are tied. Satan, go and talk to Job. Do what you want to do. When Job says, even if you slay me, I will trust you. God has nothing to do with that statement. That is true worship. If God If Job is the mouthpiece of God, then this testimony of the witness is tampered with, and therefore it is not admissible in a court of law. Because the great controversy is about God saying, I am loving, I am lovable. My creatures can testify to that. And the devil trying to argue against that. So it would not make sense for God to say, I am loving and I'm lovable. My creatures testify to that. And then he comes. Instead of us testifying, he hijacks and he usurps our faculties and speaks through us. What kind of a testimony is that? It is true worship when the three Hebrew boys say, even if he doesn't intervene, we will not budge. Yeah. That's true worship. God is saying, I'm out of the picture, deal with them. Yes. And their Christianity has matured to a point where they're saying, God, we are seemingly in a crisis, but we want you to relax. We want you to understand that we've seen your goodness enough. We no longer need you to be intervening for us. Yes. Their Christianity has grown from infancy to adulthood, so to speak. And that is what we need to aspire to. And therefore, our Christian consciousness should not be a mere product of socialization. It is dangerous and God is not honored by that. If you are a Christian simply because you come from a Christian family, some of us, we mention this and say, I'm a fourth generation Adventist and we think God is praised. The challenge with that is, what it means is that if you were born in an Islamic family, chances are very high you could be a terrorist. Especially with the zeal you have for Pathfinder and Mastercard. And if you were born in a Shembe family, as a victim of socialization, you would be in that space. Do you see the problem with that? So, we can't, socialization, family background cannot be the basis of our service to God and our worship to God. We need to deal with this thing so that we can then begin to serve God in truth and in spirit. So this 15-year-old is saying, no, why? Okay, I understand he's powerful, he's good and all that, but why do we need to worship him? Why doesn't he do his goodness and his beautiful things and then he leaves us alone? Why should we gather around him? Is he so weak that he needs to surround himself with us so that every time we are massaging his ego with our praises and worship? Why doesn't he leave us alone? This is the question that he has. And as a parent, you can't just say, hey, when shut up. You are then challenged to give an intelligent reason for your faith, Ellen White says. Now, the title of the message is The Science of Worship. The science of worship. And these are the questions that we'll be dealing with. What is worship? What is worship? Do we really need to worship God? Why does God summon us to worship? Why? Why doesn't he do his thing? We do our thing, he's good, he's amazing, fine, but why not just leave us alone? We're dealing with that. What would happen if we didn't worship? We acknowledge his awesomeness, we acknowledge, all right, fine. We acknowledge the factual reality that is the creator of everything, is omnipotent, all-powerful and everything. But maybe much as we acknowledge that, we don't want to worship. What would be wrong with that? We acknowledge, but why should we worship? We don't go around worshiping everything that is good. There are so many good people and good things around us, but we don't worship them. Why should we worship God? Why isn't a mere acknowledgement enough? To say, I understand, you're wonderful. You died, you sent your son down, wonderful. But worship, not my thing. What is wrong with that attitude? What is wrong with that thinking? So that's what we'll be dealing with. So, remember this 15-year-old presents a very big word here. He says, God is a megalomaniac. he suffers from this thing that they call megalomania. He's a megalomaniac. This word is defined as, megalomania is defined as a mental disorder, which causes a person to have exaggerated notions of his capabilities. Have you seen these people that think they are very important? That's megalomania. Somebody who is so engrossed in a false concept of their strength and identity and capabilities, they have an oversized ego. That's megalomania. And because of that, they tend to make a lot of bad decisions. Bad decisions because they have an inflated sense of their strengths. We used to have a president like that up north. He thought he was invincible. You know, friends, one of the net effects of sin is that our concept of reality is fundamentally distorted. Our computations of reality, self, and God distorted. That's why the Bible says, lean not on your understanding. We think we understand, but we don't. Are you aware that beautiful and handsome as you are, someday, one day, if you live long enough, you will be unable to take yourself to the toilet? Are you aware of that? The sin-battered mind has got selective amnesia. It forgets certain things conveniently. So this 15-year-old accuses God of suffering from this mental disorder. Hitler had the same problem. And he made a lot of terrible military decisions based on that. He had a distorted concept of his strengths. And the other concept that runs along this is what they call egomania. If you suffer from that, you're an egomaniac. You suffer from, a pathological obsession with self. You're obsessively self-centered. Everything is about you. That's ego. And this 15-year-old accuses God of that. He says, why doesn't he direct us to worship somebody else? Why him? Why is he calling us to praise him? All the praise, the worship, the glory, should go to him. Why is he not directing it to somewhere? In fact, why even, burden creatures with worship, praise, and why don't you just leave them alone? So now what the young man doesn't understand is that, you see, God is stuck with being God. God is stuck with being God. We don't have a lot of time to deal with this, but here's my short answer to the young man, to myself, and to all of us. If you listen to where God speaks and is referring to himself, he usually does it in third person. Yes, there are many instances where he uses the first person. He says, I, the Lord your God. He refers to himself as I and I and I. And that's got nothing to do with selfishness. But when it comes to talking about his attributes as a God, he uses the third person, and I find that fascinating. Exodus 34 verse 6, God is speaking to Moses, because Moses is asking God to reveal himself. He says, the Lord, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth. He doesn't say, I am merciful, I am gracious, I am long-suffering, I am abundant in goodness. He says the Lord. He uses the third person. It's as if God is saying, listen, Moses, maybe you've got problems with me. You may mistake me for being self-centered and selfish. But don't get me wrong, I'm talking about the Lord. The Lord is merciful. The Lord is gracious. The Lord is long-suffering. The Lord is abundant in goodness, and the Lord is saying to Moses, maybe you have a problem with my person, but if there's any being out there who is merciful, who is gracious, who is long-suffering, who is abundant in goodness and truth, and this being is omnipotent and omniscient, all these, that being must be worshipped. It's got nothing to do with me. But alas, I am that being. So God is stuck with being God. Now, it'll be disingenuous for him to direct his subjects to a being lesser than himself. Now, let's imagine this. You need a lot of money, you want a lot of money. So you want to go to somebody who has a lot of money, who has the highest and the best capacity to give you a lot of money. Who is the wealthiest person right now globally? Jeff Bezos. He's got a lot of money, 100 and something net worth in terms of billions and all that. It's a lot of money. Now, if you went to Jeff and you ask for money, you say to him, you are the richest person. You have the highest, the greatest capacity to meet my financial needs. I need money. Would Jeff Bezos be true to himself if he says, you know what? The best person that can help you, Marshall, is. Can you get money from Marshall? Of course you can. Can you get money from your bank as a loan? Of course you can. But will he be true to himself if he directs you to a source of this which you want, which is lesser than his capacity? If Jeff is genuine, if Jeff is authentic, if Jeff is a man of integrity, and if Jeff is true to himself, he has no choice but to direct you to himself. And that is not essentially selfish, it is just factual. God is saying, you may have a problem with me, fine. But if there's a being that possesses the qualities that I have, and your mind is functioning right, you must worship that being. I am that being, unfortunately or fortunately. So, that's why God references his attributes in third person. He's saying, worship the Lord. If you don't want to worship me, fine, but worship the Lord. The silence of worship. I want to unpack this in 4 principles. Why we worship and what is worship. Worship is to give reverence, to pay homage, to give adoration to a supreme being. That is what worship is. But why do we need to worship? Supreme, beautiful, why? Does it help us in any way? Now, 4 principles, quickly. The first principle is that worship presents an environment in which the image of God is perfected in us. Remember when God created us in his image. There are many other concepts I can use to explain this, but I'll just choose this one. God is truth, number 1, and then he is true. Jesus in John 14 says, I am the way, the truth, and the... I want myself and ourselves to understand this clearly. So, God is truth. But it's not only that, he is also true. So there is truthfulness and there is trueness. These are 2 different things. He is truth and is also true. If you go to Revelation 19, verse 11, John says, the heavens were open, I beheld a white horse, and the one who sat upon the horse was called faithful and what? Faithful and truth. No, faithful and true. So it's truth then it's true. That's very important. What's the difference? Truth or truthfulness has got to do with telling the truth, just telling the truth. If I say Jesus is coming again, I am being truthful. But if I say Jesus is coming again, but my life is not aligned to that, I am being truthful in saying it, but I'm not being true. Yes. Now, God embraces both. He is truth and He is true. There is integrity in what He does and in what He says. There is no disjuncture. He is one. He is well-rounded. He is a God of integrity. So, He represents both concepts perfectly. Truth, and He is true. Now, the environment of worship is the only space in which me and you can both apply the same principles, can both be truthful and be true. The environment of worship summons us to profess and confess the true qualities of God. So when we sing His praises, when we worship Him, we are professing and confessing factual realities. We are telling the truth. He is good, He is loving, He is awesome. We are being truthful. But again, in worship, we are not only truthful, we are true. Because we are saying, as much as it is true that He is loving, He is awesome, He is holy, that truth invokes a response from us. Not just in confession and profession, but in practical godliness. So in essence, worship is not limited to what we do here at church. Yeah, that's worship. That's an explicit form of worship. We sing praises, we do praise and worship. Everything we do here is pretty much worship. But the fundament of worship is deeper than that. Worship is the essence of our decisions and the very trajectory of our lives. The decisions we make during the week, every time we make a decision, that is God what? A decision that is godly, that is worship. Worship does not begin when we get in here and the chorister is leading us in song and we have this explicit praise and worship. That is also worship, but it doesn't begin here. So in the context of worship, the image of God is perfected in us. It's going to come out clearer as we go. Now, remember that outside God, me and you are nothing. There's a reason why God formed man out of clay. Not gold, not silver. Me and you are dust without God. Outside God, you are a pirated version of a human being. The original version of a human being is that which is an image of God. Outside God, you are contaminated with viruses. A pirated version. By the way, that is why God does not want us to fall in love with non-believers. He loves you so much, He says, don't go for a pirated version. Now, so when Jesus was speaking, He says, the time is coming and now it's here, that those that worship God will worship Him in what? In truth and in. So in the context of worship, the worshipped is truth. The worshipper is truthful and is true. And therefore the image of God is perfected in the context of worship. Okay. Most importantly, which is principle number 2. In the environment of worship, and this is the only environment in which the human mind intersects or crosses paths with the divine mind. This is critical. You can forget everything else, but this is critical. I did say that anything outside God is pirated. Your mind, let me be very technical. Your mind is in its best form, purest form, only in the context of worship. Because it is only in this context that you think what God thinks, you say what God says about himself. In other words, the operative of your mind is in tandem with that of God. God says, I am holy, you say he is holy. God says, I am awesome, you think the same. In that space, your mind is operating as the mind of God. And that is very critical. It is only in that space that the human mind intersects with the divine mind. And by the way, that is the only space that yields excellence. This represents the highest form of human intelligence. You can't be more intelligent than this. To think as God thinks and to say what God says. And this is why God takes worship very seriously. Because remember, this praise and worship comes from a free moral being. It's not coerced, it's not, nobody came here at a gunpoint. When we stand up for the second song, nobody does that at gunpoint. And this is amazing. When God created humanity, he set humanity on unlimited horizons of moral latitude. You can choose whatever you want to be moral. You can choose you don't want anything to do with this God. The very fact that a majority of humanity has rebelled against God goes so far to show how genuine God was in giving us true moral freedom. Because in this freedom, many went away, but some have come back to the hand of the Creator. And God uses that to demonstrate that indeed I am lovable and loving. I am so democratic with human beings. Others have gone and they've never come back. That attests to the fact that we are free indeed. So when we come back, it's powerful. Because we don't come back under coercion. Now, remember, Leviticus 22 verse 19. God is speaking, he's addressing Israel. He says, ye shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am what? God says he's holy. That's what he says. He declares himself holy, and when he does that, he's not being self-centered. And we come in praise and worship, and what do we sing? We sing, holy, 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 Lord God Almighty. So, in the context of worship, we reflect in the very essence, the mind of God. He says he's holy, and we agree. We sing holy, holy, holy. You go back to Exodus 34 verse 6. It says, Moses, the Lord is merciful. And what do we sing? Wonderful, merciful Savior. Precious Redeemer and Friend. Who could have thought that the Lamb would rescue the souls of men? And we say, oh yes, indeed you rescue the souls of men. And he says, not only that, I am gracious. And what do we say? Amazing grace. How sweet. It's not God who composed that song. It's not scandalously worshiping himself to us. We are the ones, we respond, we agree, we say, indeed, amazing grace. How sweet. That saved a wretch like me and you. We were once lost, but now we are blind, but now we. And you remember in Revelation 19 verse 11, the man on the white horse is called faithful and what? He calls himself faithful. And we sing, great is thy faithfulness, O God, our Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thy compassions fail not. And in the context, he says, I am faithful, and we agree. So, worship is the space where the human mind is regenerated to function as the mind of God. There is no higher level of consciousness than that. Forget your black consciousness. Revelation 19 verse 6. John says, when I looked, I saw an inscription on both the robe and his thigh was written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He has this inscription upon himself. He is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Whether you like it or you like it a lot, whether he likes it or not, he is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And what do we say? There's a beautiful hymn we sing. We say, bring forth the royal diadem, the royal crown, so that we can crown him Lord of all. Amen. We respond, he's not the one saying, guys, I am King of, can you sing this song? And these are the words. We are responding in praise and worship to say we agree. Indeed, you are King over all and Lord over all. So, friends, the science of worship. Now this is, we can consider what I've shared as academic factual. But maybe we've not touched on the delivery of this. Okay, fine, you've said your mind intersects, but how does that help us? And this third point deals with that. The science of worship is the fact that in the context of worship, God meets our needs, not his. God seeks worship, not because he needs it, but because it is only in that context that he can meet our needs. That is the science of worship. He can't, you see, our relationship with God is not based on God parceling out his goodness to us occasionally. That's not how it works. The fundamental difference between a present or a gift and a blessing is that a present can be appreciated and enjoyed far removed or detachedly from the giver. Someone can send you a gift, a present, you enjoy that, you use that, you appreciate it, but not so with the blessing. The blessing can only be enjoyed and appreciated in the presence of the giver. So God does not desire that our experience of Christianity and worship is characterized by uploading a requisition list in what we call prayer to heaven to say, God, give me this. God's desire is that we enter his presence. Because in his presence, there is fullness of joy. You see, away from God, we don't get much. God desires that, he doesn't want to function like Mr. Deliverer, so that you're there at home and you desire something and then he delivers that and then you receive it. God's desire is that we get into the storehouse and access everything that he has in store for us. In Psalm 16 verse 11, David says, he's addressing God, he says, you have shown me the path to life. In your presence, there is fullness not partiality, but fullness of joy. And then he says, at your right hand are pleasures, not pleasure, pleasures forever. So you want pleasures, you go to the right hand side of God. You want joy, you go into the presence of God, and that is worship. So the science of worship is that in that context, God meets our needs, not his needs. God wants to deal with us in a very holistic way. Finally, worship is the highest level of intelligence. Is the purest form of any human consciousness. Worship, friends, listen closely. Worship is the highest form of intelligence. Because in the context of worship, you are dealing with facts, not feelings. You deal with objective reality which has got nothing to do with what you're going through. In the context of worship, you appreciate that the awesomeness of God is totally unputdownable, regardless of what you're going through. And a mind that can operate like that is an intelligent mind. A mind that can operate like that is a strong mind. It is the same kind of a mind that says when it has lost everything, it says, God, even if you slay me, I will trust you. It is that kind of a mind. It deals with facts. It deals with the reality. It is intelligent. It is cognizant of the fact that, our five senses are not definitive of reality. There is better and higher reality beyond our five senses. What are the five senses? Smell, touch, sight, hearing, taste. Now, faith is stronger than all your five senses combined. Faith is a sense stronger than all your five senses combined. How many of us here believe that Jesus is coming back? I believe that. Thank you so much. Can you smell it? Can you touch it? Can you hear it? Can you taste it? Can you see it? And therefore faith can usher you into realities you can't access with your five senses. And therefore the context of worship presents the highest level of intelligence. This is where the three Hebrew boys says, even if they burn us in fire, it's fine. You know what? As a Christian, when they threaten you, don't panic. As a Christian, when they threaten to injure you physically, don't panic. But that's not enough. What the three Hebrew boys are insinuating is that even if they kill you, don't panic. That is the mentality that subsists in the context of worship. It presents the highest level of mental fortitude. In this context, you will be disappointed but not devastated. You will experience hardships, but you will remain strong. Nothing can take you down. And this is where the devil gets frustrated. Now, Paul, when he says, we are hard-pressed, persecuted, and not devastated, this is the context he was referring to. It's very important, friends. And why is this important? This is the deliverable of Christianity. This is the return on investment of Christianity. This is the dividend of Christianity. This is the benefit. If you have not received this, you're missing out. There's no point why you are a Christian. The fundamental essence of Christianity is that we can access peace that surpasses understanding. So that when we go through those difficulties, the mind is fortified. We can go through that knowing that God exists. This is why we should also have a problem when we find ourselves angry with God. How many here have been angry with God? I've been angry with God before. Thank you for being honest. When you get home over lunch, you giving you something better to gossip about today. I want you to think about this. You believe, I believe, God is perfect. God is omnipotent. God knows what He's doing. Now, to be angry with God is to convince yourself, without saying it, that God doesn't know what He's doing. Now, for a mind and a being that needs to visit the toilet maybe 2-3 times a day for relief, to conclude that an omnipotent, all-knowing, eternal God does not know what He is doing is a disturbing state of mental disorder. I am not saying this derogatory. I am saying this honestly. I had to do this exercise myself. When you're angry with God, you are suffering a clinical, pathological, mental breakdown. Anger at God should soon be classified as a mental disease. Something is not right cognitively, because it takes a lot of cognitive deficiency to get to that conclusion. That a God who created you doesn't know what He is doing. That a creature has a better worldview than the Creator. You must be disturbed by that. It's a challenge. God is perfect, friends. We should not. It's okay to complain to God. What is not okay is complaining against God. The delivery of Christianity is that we can understand that regardless of what we've gone through, God's character is perfect. And His perfection is not relative to what we're going through. And you say to me, preacher man, are you saying God is perfect even when a 5-year-old child is raped? The short answer is yes. The long answer is, when you say is God perfect when, that's a wrong question. Because it assumes that God's goodness is scheduled. So let's start from there. The question is wrong, we are not proceeding. God's goodness cannot be scheduled. You see, you can measure the strength of a man or a woman by the size of calculated risks he is willing to take. When God created humanity, He knew that He's going to suffer the risk of being insulted, being spitted upon, being critiqued and attacked as megalomaniac, egomaniac, somebody who doesn't care, arbitrary God. But he looked at His strength and His goodness, and He knew that ultimately, when all is done and dusted, every knee will bow. Amen. So don't talk to me about a 3-year-old that is being raped. What it says to me is that God saw that. Friends, when a 3-year-old is raped, I don't know anything as disastrous as that. But what it says to me is that God saw that. Because remember, God finishes before He starts. He says, I knew you before you were born. Before you existed, I knew you. God can see nothing. While you were nothing, He saw you. So He finishes before He starts. Before He started this project, He knew what was going to happen. But then He saw that He is well capacitated to put back a smile on the face of a 3-year-old that was raped. If not in this world, most definitely in the world to come. Amen. He is capable. That mindset is very important. We need to graduate from being sissies. Ellen White says, the last days call for men and women that can withstand hunger and thirst. Some of us struggle to go to the village here because there's no McDonald's there. And now, can you imagine the scenario in the last days? She says we're going to have to be able to withstand hunger and thirst. Christianity is no child's play. We can't be the kind of Christians that want to quit church. Everything, something bad happens. We can't be the kind of Christians that don't want to give up Do you know that God as a social being needs our company? God is looking forward to Christians that will say, when I have lost a loved one, I'll say to God, relax. I know you don't be worried about me, relax. I've got this covered in your grace. He's looking for that. God is looking for company that says, hey, God, this project that you took with humanity, can you see how far it's going? But God, relax, it's going to be fine. I know you have enough resource to get this done. God needs that. He's looking for that from us. And David exemplifies this in closing. David exemplifies this very well. In chapter 42, verse 5 of Psalms, it says, David does something amazing. I need this chip. So that when you get home for lunch today, you have something else to gossip. David does something quite interesting. David says, you know what? Today I'm taking myself out. I'm not taking my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my wife, husband, family out. I'm taking myself out to Tasha's. Having a me time. So what David does is this. Psalm 42 verse 5, he says, you know what? He is going through those phases that make us quit church, that make us quit God, that make us begin to attack and insult God. He says, it's me time. And I can imagine someone passing through in the alley of the restaurant says, but David, beautiful restaurant, where's your partner? David says, no. I am just here alone. I'm by myself. I have taken myself out. This is my time. Can you respect my time? And David says, my soul, why are you cast down, my soul? David is speaking to himself. He says, in the absence of the preacher, I will preach to myself. In the absence of a psychologist, I will give myself self-control therapy. In the absence of a motivational speaker, I will encourage myself out of this dungeon of misery. He says, my soul, sit here. I want to talk to you, David. Sit here. Why are you cast down? Why are you so disquieted within me? Can you please put your hope in God? And in chapter 103, he continues. It says, my soul, bless the Lord. I see you're going through difficult moments. But because he is in the ambience of worship, which presents the highest level of objectivity and intelligence, he knows how to separate facts from feelings. He says, bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, forget not all his benefits. He says, if you forgot, tell me, my soul, David, I'm speaking to you. Who forgives your iniquities? Who heals all your diseases? Can you tell me? Who rescues your life from destruction? Who crowns you with loving kindness and tenderness? Tell me, David. And he says, look at you. You look fresh, you look so young. Who satisfies your mouth with good things so that your youth is renewed like that of the eagle? Talk to me. Tell me. Who does all these good things to you? David is speaking to himself. You wait for a sermon on Sabbath to motivate you. David is doing this to himself. He says, listen, my son. God executes judgment and righteousness upon all that are oppressed. Why are you forgetting me? He says, he made known his ways unto Moses and his acts unto the children of Israel. My soul, the Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger. Don't you forget, he is speaking to himself. He says, remember, the Lord has not dealt with us after our sins. He has not treated us according to our deserve. Neither has he rewarded us according to our iniquities. He says, for So great is his mercy upon them that fear him. And he says, as far as the east is from the west, so far and that far, he has removed our sins, our transgressions from us. My soul, don't forget that. It says like a father pities his children, so the Lord pities them that fear him. Because he knows our frame, and he remembers that we are dust. He says, but don't forget David. As for man, his days are as grass. For like a flower of the field, so he flourishes. But when the wind comes and passes over it, it is gone, and the place thereof shall know it no more. But, in a big but, the mercy of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting. Amen. Upon them that fear him, and his righteousness from the children to the children's children, to such as keep his covenant and remember his commandments to do them. And when David, this is amazing, when David is done with what they call self-control therapy and behavioral treatment, where you got to heal yourself. When he's done with himself, you know, in the vehicle of inspiration, he transports himself into the heavenly courts. You see, David has had it rough long enough. He has gathered so much confidence, you know, grit and temerity. He bursts into the heavenly courts and begins to workshop angels on worship. He goes there to give angels that know no sin a seminar on worship. In verse 20 he says, bless the Lord, ye angels, that excel in strength, and do his commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his word. Remember, John in Revelation 4:8 says, I saw these heavenly beasts. They don't rest. Day and night. There's no moment that passes and they don't sing holy, holy. Every moment they are praising God. And remember, by the way, when they say holy, holy, they are not repeating themselves.
Yes.
It's too early to start giving marriage tips. But what I learned, when I thought about this, it dawned to me that for those that are married, when you say to your husband, your wife, you love her, you must not be repeating yourself. Because that's boring. So every time angels say to God, holy, they are not repeating. Every time they say it, it's upgraded with a new appreciation of his awesomeness. It's never new. And there's no moment that passes and they don't say holy. But David says, wait, I know that every moment you're saying holy, that's not enough. Praise him. And he says, all ye hosts, beyond just the angels, everyone here, all holy beings here, I'm giving you a workshop on worship. You ought to praise God more than you do. Ye ministers of his that do his pleasure, praise him. And when David is done with thoroughly workshopping the heavenly hosts with worship, you know, he keeps upgrading himself. Now he goes on to a universal pedestal and now he addresses every created being. He says, bless the Lord, all his works in all places of his dominion. Everyone, everything, praise the Lord. Because David understands that God inhabits our praise. And he says, you know, he sees that he's been very energetic. He has motivated angels in worship. He has spoken to the entire universe And now he turns to him to say, you know what? These are free moral beings. Worship can only come from free moral beings. It's possible that Bereans are too distraught. Bereans are too despondent. Maybe somebody's going through a rough patch and they've decided to close this chapter on God, and therefore they've decided not to worship. So David understands that after he's done so well to lift himself out of the dungeon of despondency and has gone to heaven to workshop the heavenly beings and has spoke to the entire universe, it's possible that a free moral being can still choose otherwise and God will not be worshipped. He says, let me address this to one soul that I've got the ultimate control over. Remember, in your excitement about evangelism, the first soul you are to win for Christ is yourself. Yes. David says, maybe they won't do it. In the closing verse, he turns to himself. He says, bless the Lord, O my soul.
Amen. Amen.